everyone, and welcome back to our second live stream. My name is Natalie and I'm a community manager.
And I'm Nick Day, creative director here at the studio. And first of all, we want to thank everybody who tuned in last time, about a month ago when we had our first inaugural live stream. The feedback that we got from you guys was amazing, and we had some really cool conversations with you in the YouTube comments section. And you guys asked some really heavy hitters, and we really got into it on some of them.
There were more than 600 comments.
Yeah, and most of them were good. Yay. We're not actively hostile. So what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so on this episode we're talking about two new upcoming game features, hosting 2 live callers and answering some of your game questions.
Right. And prizes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so we did prizes last time, and we're doing it again, but we've added something special. So here's how prizes work for this thing. As we did it last time, you have a chance to win 20,000 units of the game currency of your choice, be that sapphires or rubies or diamonds or drachmas or... What am I forgetting? Sapphires.
Sapphires, yes.
Sapphires. Right, so to get your chance to win those, go into the YouTube comments, and this is what we need to be able to find you. You need to put your game, whichever game that you're playing, what server you're playing. You need to tell us the coordinates of your base or castle or city, or your game ID. And then basically in the next week, we'll be going through and picking a winner at random.
It will be December 27th.
September 27th, right?
Yes.
So by next Tuesday, we'll be posting the winner in the comments down below. But wait, there's more. This time we've sweetened the deal. 3 of you will also be winning this fabulous, completely original Plarium t-shirt. Please note that your exact Plarium t-shirt may not look precisely like this. We've got about 2 or 3 different ones, so it'll be a surprise when it shows up. Yeah, so that's what you get, and off we go.
And today we'll be hearing from our game analytics team. As you remember from our previous episodes, if our game design process starts from with collecting data about all our games, analyzing it to make decisions about next features. So they've put together some information about upcoming features that currently are being tested. And let's start from the first one, and it's troop movements. And we have a video for you.
All right, and off we go.
Hi, I'm Kate. I work in the game analytics team. We take all the data that comes from the games, crunch the numbers, and try to figure out how the games could be improved. So this is where a lot of the ideas come from. Troop movement on the map. Players have been asking about this functionality for quite a while now, and we've just finished implementing it in Total Domination. Based on the initial data that we're getting and player feedback on our test servers, things seem to be going pretty well with this feature. So we've decided that there's nothing stopping us from implementing it into the rest of our games. So you should see that coming out soon. Basically, the way it works is that you see all of the troop movement all over the map. Not just yours, everyone's everywhere. Except, of course, for spying missions and tactical attacks, like the Wrath of Weor. There's a lot of different applications to this. First of all, think about if one of your friends or allies is offline for a few days, maybe they're on vacation, you can keep an eye on their castle for them because you can now see when they have attacks incoming if you just scroll over to their coordinates and check every now and then. And then you could decide maybe you want to send reinforcements and save their castle from being destroyed if they have an attack incoming. We also expect it to change the way people approach hamlets. We've been monitoring player feedback on hamlets, and we know that especially novice players are really hesitant to take control of a hamlet, even though they might need the resources, because they have no idea when an attack is incoming, and they don't want to risk losing all of their units as well as the resources that they've collected. Now, with this feature, players do have the option to closely monitor what's going on the hamlet. And if you do see attacks incoming and you're nervous that you won't be able to hold them off, you can recall your units immediately from the hamlet and save whatever you've gathered so far. League marshals should also be able to use this as a helpful tool when they're planning their league's actions, especially concerning beacons. If you're defending a beacon, you'll be able to see when you have attacks coming, and you'll be able to try and figure out where they're coming from and which league might be threatening you. If, on the other hand, you're trying to attack a beacon, you might want to keep a close eye on what's going on with that beacon, what's going on with reinforcements, when reinforcements are being sent, and when units are getting taken away from the beacon. That way you should be able to choose the most opportune time to make your attack and try to capture it. So keep an eye on the community pages. Your community managers should be informing you when this feature is about to roll out in the game of your choice, and I hope you guys have fun with it.
Oh, sounds cool, isn't it?
Well, we don't know. We have to ask
Can't
the
hear
senior
her.
players.
Hey, I unmuted for a minute. We can't hear on this side. She is talking so softly, or you need to boost the sound, because when I've got the YouTube on, I can barely hear her, even with speakers at 100.
Well, let me recap the salient points for you real quick, because I don't know if I can play it back again. By the way, hold on. We got Mike on the line from the Tiger Blood clan. Tiger Blood. 1 second. And there's Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Hello. How are you?
We're doing okay. So basically, a quick rundown of what Kate was just explaining. So when you look on the game map, when you're going on there right now, you can see all the troop movements of whatever troops that you have or reinforcements you have going back and forth on the map. And these are represented by lines. This feature at its core is pretty simple. You can see everybody's. So you basically get to see every single map action that is happening live in real time as fast as the server refreshes it. And the main points that Kate was talking about, basically why the analytics team thinks is going to be cool. One of the bigger, one of the biggest issues that we get is with the tap sites. So in Total Domination's tap sites, she's calling it hamlets in Stormfall.
In Stormfall, yes.
Yeah, and so the idea is, why would you go and defend one of these things if you have no idea when they're about to be taken out, or who's coming, or what motions are happening around them? So hopefully, the idea is that with some more transparency, this will allow you to make better decisions, or at the bigger scale, if you're looking at how you're going to protect an emitter, where you're going to position forces, who's coming when.
Yes.
It'll give you a top-down view. So our question is, what do you think? Is this a good idea?
What do I think? I discussed it with Kira earlier. I can see some possible issues depending upon what all is on there. I can see with the tap sites, which I'm not a tap site player, but I could see possible issues when you're talking about emitters and things like that, simply because it almost gives an advantage to the attacking and offensive players. Because let's say our clan or myself, if I go and smash an emitter, currently you have no idea who all's troops were there and when they will arrive back at the person's sector. Because most of the offensive clans or offensive players, when you blast a clan off of an emitter, what do? You then start hitting sectors within an hour to get their defense that's returning. Well, with this feature, I can see it causing issue, because then you would be able to see exactly who has troops coming back, if the person has boosted their troops, or when to send. And so I can see a big negative in with that. Now, it would help me as an offensive player, but I'm a person that tries to look at the big picture and the overall scheme of the game. And I could see the negative side of it that hasn't been thought of possibly by Plarium and others.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Like one of the earlier conversations that we had on it was like, how can we counter effect? How can we give you information that's useful strategically without completely torpedoing all like the short-term tactics during attacks? And I know one variant, the idea was to actually block off the information on the final approach.
Yes.
So within a certain range, that information would cut off, and so you kind of have to gauge it from the last known approach, which angle and what rate of speed these guys are coming on. So I don't think we're going to display that information in like the exact numbers. It's more rather trying to eyeball it. So
right, eyeballing it, you would still be able to see the troops that were coming or being sent out of the emitter that just got blasted.
Yeah. Do you think, and if we're looking at like emitter gameplay, or if you're comparing it to like hamlets, you said that you don't actually use, not hamlets, tap sites.
Tap sites.
Would this be something that might make it more or less attractive to you?
Like I said, as an offensive player and the way I play my game, it's going to end up helping me, but I can see the possible long-term negative effects to your defensive clans, in that it's going to expose them to more losses.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, which server did we test it on already?
It's a Russian social network.
Right. Yeah, so we should have data coming in sort of like for different use cases coming in shortly. And I think the next one that we're going to be rolling it out will be TD.
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll know very, very shortly. And I think, some of the other questions that we had were, you already talked about how you might take advantage of this, as an offensive player. Can you see any way as a defensive player that this might possibly help you?
Oh, it could help as a defensive player, because if you're online and happen to be watching and keeping track of your emitter, and all of a sudden you see attacks coming at it, it would help, because then you'll have people basically boosting troops to get there. So I can see the negative. And this is an aside that you may not want to hear, but I've been talking to Kira. One of the bad things is, with the advent of the champion and the other boosts that are there for offense, they have a archaic 250,000 power limitation on sending an attack, yet your defensive, the clans, they can have at their emitter a massive amount. Now that there is no credit issue where people can have huge troop counts, such as myself and others, it puts your attacker at a disadvantage. And now, if you've got a person in the clan who is monitoring the emitters, the next thing you know, they see an attack coming at a possible weak emitter, and they would then be able to send in defense quickly, which will cause even more losses for the offensive player. So I can see the negatives that may not have been thought of within that system.
Yeah, and
you understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
And like I said, as a player, I look at things in big picture wise, because what the effects they can have on the game. And at times, I think some of the ideas or things that are done don't always take those into account.
Yeah, and it's really hard for us to actually find out until we put it in a live environment. Like we can go through and we can test something. This is something we talked about in the last feed. Like we can go and test something on a closed server. We go test it. We're like, oh, this is a brilliant idea, until it actually encounters reality. So this is one of the reasons that we're trying to sound you guys out first before we inflict it on everybody. So with what you know right now, it sounds like a lot of the negatives might outweigh the positives on like the average base. If you had to call it before we launch it, good, bad, or ugly, what do you think?
I would say towards the bad or ugly side, simply because of the negatives and the way it would be possibly slanting it against certain players and clans, emitters, and all that. So where with tap sites it may be good, but with emitters and things like that and other issues, I could see it possibly being very harmful to players and the game as a whole.
I already see the topic of our next feed, which will be like the breakdown of like 3 weeks later after we unleash this on everybody and see how it goes.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your feedback, and we'll follow up with you. I think like after the call, and we'll also know in like 24 hours exactly what the impact will be. All right, Mike. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, and please, a big shout out to the rest of the guys in Tiger Blood. Like every time I see the name of your clan, it just makes me happy inside. All right, man. Take care.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. So.
And now we got some more from Kate about another upcoming update. It's League Help. Yes.
Right. So League Help. This is the next one we've got coming.
League play has always been a big part of our games. We developed the League Help feature based on the trends that we saw in the way players were interacting within their leagues. For example, we saw that they would often use the league chat to do things like ask for some iron or ask for help with a particularly annoying neighbor that they were having trouble beating. We designed the League Help feature to try and streamline and organize these types of requests, as well as to add some cool new functionality. So the first type of League Help is called Building Help. This allows you to accelerate the building and upgrade processes of your league members. This part of the feature is neat because in the past, we would often see veteran and more experienced players helping the novice players, but not a lot of novice players helping the veterans. This is obviously because they have less resources and less military strength, so there wasn't as much that they could do. But with this part of the league help feature, everyone's contributions will be equal. So there's nothing to stop all of the new league members from helping the league management and other veterans. The feature goes further than that though. We've created a way for you to tell your league exactly what you need. Just post a resource request, for example, in the league interface. If you need iron, just prepare your warehouses and your league members will be sending you some because everything is listed there conveniently. You'll also be able to ask them for help in a military way. You can put an attack request up on an enemy's castle, on a particular beacon, or on an enemy league's fortress even. You can also ask for reinforcements at your own castle if you have a lot of attacks incoming and you want help. Of course, coordinating huge battle operations is still going to be the responsibility of the league management and the league marshal, but now they have a useful tool to help them organize all of that. A limited amount of league members will be able to respond to your help requests. There's a couple ways to increase the amount of help that you can get from your league members. First of all, you'll be able to upgrade your embassy, but also you'll be able to upgrade your league fortress to allow additional request responses. This is one more way that leagues can work together to get the most out of this new feature.
Let's get our microphone back on. All right, so let's go over to Bob. Bob, are you there?
From Dragon
Yes.
Rider League in Stormfall.
Bob, could you hear that video at all?
Well, I could barely hear it, and actually I have a 25-second lag, so I'm still looking at her. But that's okay. Go on.
Fair enough, the fun of live television.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right, so were you able to get some of the main points of what she's talking about? Because I can recap it for you
yes.
if it's easier.
Oh yes, of course, and I also had some information beforehand. So you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah, so if you
Yeah,
could just tell us
sure.
your plan and what game you're playing and where you are.
All right, so well, you can already see my name and my league name. I'm playing mainly in Stormfall on game server 1. I'm the Marshal of Dragon Raider since a few years. And of course, if you want some fun, come and join us and we will move upwards and onwards together.
Right on. We are allowing recruiting pitches here, so you heard him here first, folks.
Yeah, I had to be quick with that one, right?
Hey, it's your time, you know?
Yes.
So short version, what do you think overall from what you know about the feature?
Well, you think for what I read first about the feature was the building speed help with that, and I think that especially that feature will help those players who are especially in their first year of the gameplay, both in training leagues and also in regular leagues. You know, to help speed up their castle development and move it up much faster. And I also think it is a way of promoting teamwork within the league and players. They can help each other ahead. So I understood that the embassy level of the player and the fortress level of the league will also help you lower the construction speed of buildings and also the amount of league members who can actually help the player out.
Right, and we were really hoping to make sure that this feature goes both ways. You know, one of the things that we've noticed is that a lot of the pressure, you know, if you've got a new recruit who's coming into a league, is for the more senior guys to help them out, but also you're also trying to complete your own goals. You're also trying to upgrade buildings, which may be taking months at this point.
Yes.
You know, so having all the new guys, so having the new guys being able to pull their weight a little bit, we thought would be kind of cool. So that's like one of the big like key features that we're talking about. Is the ability to boost development on kind of both sides.
And Bob, integrated resource requested. What do you think about this?
Oh, actually, that's a very nice one. I didn't read about that. I just saw her talking about it a little bit. So players can request resources to other players and move them around.
Yeah, so the basic idea is that you can, you know, we're trying to create integrated functionality with a lot of stuff that everybody's just sort of been faking in chat. So basically with this one, you can say, I need this resource, I need this mount, and this is where you send it. And that will be an automatic thing that pops up within the UI, and it just kind of sits there, and so you know exactly who needs what and where. Of course, everybody will be like, I need everything. But at the same time, like hopefully this will mean people are spamming the chat a little bit less. And also, if you didn't post a request for help like within the last 10 seconds, somebody else will actually see it, you know?
Yes, exactly. And I think there was also a way of pointing people to certain coordinates, right?
Yes, right. Yes. So with battle actions, and this has been something that we've been getting requests for since, I don't know, 2011.
Oh yeah.
So basically what this does is it allows you to say, please attack this guy, or you know, this guy came and took out my whatever, you know, 3 weeks ago. I don't like him. Please not like him as well. But it also on the higher level, this is going to allow like kind of clan leadership to communicate more effectively within the clan or within a league with all the different members and sort of coordinate attacks. So instead of saying, okay, at UTC, you know, 0:2314 seconds, we will all attack this thing at the same time. We're going to have some automated markers in there that make that happen by itself. And my question is like, is that really needed to you right now? Do you feel like chat's kind of enough, or is this helpful?
Well, the thing is that usually if you use chat, I mean, it's still immediate, you know, people can react directly. I'm actually not using the in-game chat, but I'm using the Facebook Messenger chat, which is more effective to us. But I think especially for, you know, sending over coordinates and these kind of things, it's a lot of copying, pasting, and making mistakes with the minus symbol or not. And, you know, or if you want to point somebody at a beacon, in our case, in Stormfall, and people start attacking the wrong one, well, that's kind of a problem. So it's actually good for the leadership of a league or clan to, you know, point people at certain targets, be it beacons, fortresses, or individual castles with bullies or whatever, and to go after them, and they actually click the right one.
Well, that's the idea, and I know you had a question for him in a minute, but I wanted, you know, just to comment on what you said about using Facebook chat. Like, one of the development pressures that we have on this is we've seen these incredibly elaborate systems that people have put together to coordinate their league. Like, we've got people running separate websites with like backend and like a server sysadmin dude. Like, you've built your entire like duplicate game infrastructure, which was kind of a signal that we probably need to do something like this in the game as well. So hopefully you won't have to go to such draconian measures. And I know, Natalia, you wanted to ask him a question as well.
Yes, and what possibly could kill this feature for you?
Well, especially if all the league members start pointing everybody at all kinds of coordinates, because then you just don't know what's going on anymore. And yeah, it will be a messy bit.
Yeah, everybody attack everybody right now, or yesterday, or no, in 10 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, if you see 10 coordinates or whatever, all kinds of castles popping up, that'll be a little bit messy, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah, we're waiting to see how it's implemented, but I think this is going to be rolling out pretty soon.
Pretty soon,
yeah,
yes.
I can't give exact times or dates.
I'm not sure about the exact date, but pretty soon, yes.
Yeah. So, again, based on what you've seen, good, bad, or ugly?
I think it will be good. And actually, I hope it will be good. So,
so do we.
No pressure to you guys. So please make it good and make it not so intrusive on the game console, at least, you know, so that it doesn't cover everything in the view.
Right.
That's
no, and from the mock-ups that I've seen, I don't think it's going to be taking up like all of your user interface real estate. So this won't be like a giant red button in the middle of the screen over everything that you need to do. But right on. We will know very shortly, and when we do, we're going to follow up with you and see what you think retrospectively.
Yes.
Bob, Bob, where are you from?
Actually, I'm from the Netherlands.
Oh, right on. I'm from Amsterdam.
Yes.
We're big fans of the Netherlands. We had your team came and played the Euro Cup near our office a couple of years back. You were very popular here.
Sounds good.
All right, Bob. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Have a great day. And I think it's time for some questions and answers.
No,
You
no.
guys left more than 600 comments under our last YouTube live stream, and I think that it's time to pick a few of our favorites.
Right, and so for, there are a couple different ways we could go with this, and we're like, oh, we could softball it, or we could just take a really tough one. So let's take a tough one.
Yeah.
So starting off, first question is from Adnan Karateche. My Turkish is not so hot. The question is, how about you guys open a separate server just for all the coiners? Which
So?
this is not the first time I've seen this. So the short answer is no. We're probably never going to do this, and there's a reason for it. And this is really kind of worth addressing because it's something that we hear a lot. Why don't you have a segregated place for all the people who pay to play the game, and another place for all the free-to-play players? Kind of fundamentally, that's not sort of how this kind of game works. This is a free-to-play game, and so out of our total user population, I think it's like less than 2% of people are actually playing. And in order for them to, and a lot of you who are senior players, or a lot of you, probably kind of get this already, but in order to make the whole system work, you need to have a population on a server that's large enough
Yes,
and diverse enough
definitely.
and active enough. To keep that game dynamic and to keep membership sort of rolling over and changes, you need to be able to get new recruits. And also it's, it's one of those things where like there are games that do that, and the way they do it is they kind of have a tier system. So some people who, they kind of connect like, if a player is like only paying and they're going much faster, they'll kind of naturally aggregate towards this more senior player level, and then they'll eventually be kicked up to a different server. We don't do that. We keep you on the same server sort of the whole time.
Yes.
If you want to have like a different server of your own, because we don't want to isolate those people. And this is one of the reasons that we've really emphasized our clan mechanics so much. Like when we first launched Total Domination way back when, one of the reasons that we put this huge emphasis on clan gameplay was because it allowed the people who were playing to kind of help boost and make the game more fun for people who weren't, but who were in their clan. So the idea is that everybody else would sort of come along for the ride, and sort of all free-to-play games work like this. And the real question is, where is that bar? And where is that paywall kind of situated, and how do you adjust it, and how do you play with the balance? And that's a separate conversation. There are times when we could have done it better. There are times when I think we kind of nailed it. And it's really kind of finding that median, and it also plays out differently with different features, different styles of gameplay, and what you're looking for when you come and play the game. Some people just like to come and talk to their friends and be social. Some people are super aggro. I will go conquer the entire map by myself, and that guy, he's going down because I can. So it really is trying to be all things to all people, and trying to find that happy medium that balances out. So we're never going to isolate all the paying players on one server. We're never going to go put them in one room and say go play with each other, because that's just sort of not really the games that we make.
And I have another question from Dark Zenoble. And he asks us to make the trailers look like what the games are look like instead of the first-person shooters.
Okay, yeah.
What do you
So
think
we
about
definitely,
this?
in that case, we definitely picked the wrong intro video to play before we started the stream. Yeah, we get it. If you look at some of the comment sections on a lot of our videos, you'll see that kind of same thing over and over. Like, this looks awesome. You should make that game. And I think there are a couple different reasons that we did that. When we first started out, we have an amazing art team, and a lot of these guys, like when we did the first trailer, this is the first time that they could really flex and show off. Like, this is my moment. I can show you everything that I can do. Turns out everything they can do is stuff that we could not do in Flash, or could not actually do in the game without crashing the server. So this is like their first chance to kind of set the bar and say, this is what we can do. We can make it look really amazing and cool. And they did, and it looked great. And it also was not very representative of the game experience. So many years on and many trailers later, we're kind of coming to a point where the technology is catching up with what we can do. We've got a couple games under development. We use a couple different engines. Like one of the things that we're playing around with is Unity. And Unity is really powerful because you can do all of these highly 3D, highly visual assets and make it look good on a device and even a browser.
The game actually looks
and so the game looks like that.
Yes.
And you have these amazing high quality 3D models that you can actually plug in. And what we can do is we can actually take like your base from the Unity build, and then we can polish it up a little bit and and do some post production and make it look, it's exactly what you'll see in the game. It's just at higher resolution, so it looks good on YouTube. It looks good on your TV, but it's what you're going to get. So that's kind of our sort of new tack going forward. We're going to be trying to do a lot more videos that show more gameplay. And also mixing, we try and hit a balance with like, the creative vibe and the idea of the game world and like, how we see it in our heads. But hopefully we're going to try and make that match what you actually see when you pick up the game a little bit more closely. And also we're going to be looking at, because we have these amazingly high quality, super well rendered assets, now we can do tons of videos like that actually explore the games, and we can share that with you, especially in the communities. So that'll be something that we're working on, basically really digging deep and like, giving you breakdowns of every single unit, going and giving you backstories, giving you sort of game walkthroughs that are actually fun to watch, because the 3D graphics will be just like what you're going to experience. So we're going to be trying that out in the next couple of months, so you'll be seeing lots of that, especially if you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And you can tell us what you think and if we're hitting it a little closer to the mark. Yeah.
And one more question from Dark Zenoble. He says, a lot of people I met think the first tutorial needs to be made optional, because when I tried to get my friends to try the game, only one finished it.
Yeah, about that. So we kind of agree with him. To be honest, like, when we first started building our tutorials, like, our games are hardcore games, which means that they have tons and tons of different features. They've got tons of different UI elements. There's just so much stuff that you need to kind of go through and learn. And that's one of the reasons that we have such a hardcore audience, is because all the guys who couldn't figure it out left after like the first 5 minutes. Which is great if you want a very, very hardcore game, which only a few people understand. It's awful if you want to make it fun for everybody and really kind of like lower the bar to entry and then expose those skills later on. So the old way of doing it for us was these very long force tutorials, because we have to decide, like, does the player need to know this? Do they need to know that? They need to know everything. We'll just shove everything, and we hope that you remember it in the first 2 hours of the tutorial. We don't do that anymore. So again, this is kind of what I've been doing with our team here for like the past 3 or 4 months, is designing a new test tutorial. And this new one's really cool. It does have a forced part, but the old forced tutorial was something like 800 clicks to finish the entire thing, to go all the way through to the end. And now we've gotten that forced tutorial part down from that to, I think it's about 200 max, and then that takes under 4 minutes. Yeah, it's like 4 minutes to go through the forced tutorial, and then you're in the game and you're playing. And then the rest of it is conditional. So let's say, right now if you join a league, just as like an auto enrolled, and you go in, nobody's really given you like full permissions to do anything yet. Now we're going to show you, okay, this is what you can do now, and this is what leagues are all about. Like right now, with our old tutorial, it's like, oh yeah, by the way, you should probably join a league because they're cool. Goodbye, good luck. With the new one, we're going to tell you, okay, these are the things that you can play with. This is what you have to look forward to.
Yes.
And then let's say you get promoted, right? Your league marshal says, okay, this guy now has permission to, go use clan resources and actually be able to do stuff. You'll get another little conditional thing. Tap, 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 takes you through, shows you what you can do now. And so the whole idea is that we'll kind of gradually feed you these things as you encounter them. And if you don't want to just wait, you can go and tap on random stuff, and you'll have the option of going and taking like a mini tutorial. It's super cool. We've got a working build of it right now.
Yeah.
We're hoping to release this in the next couple of months as a test. If it does as well as we think it's going to do, then we'll be going back and looking at how we've done the other tutorials. Unfortunately, if you're already playing our games, the only way you can go through and check our fancy new tutorial is by opening another account. Yeah, can't do that. So try it on the new game, but we think it's going to be much, much easier. We're going to see when you invite your friends, they're actually going to stick around a little bit longer and really see how much fun the games are.
Okay, guys, I think that's all for today. And don't forget, for your chance to win 20,000 crystals or drachmas or sapphires or emeralds, what else do we have? Crystals, of course. And for t-shirt, you need to like our video, to share it, and sign up for our channel. And don't forget to leave your coordinates, the name of the game you're playing, and yes, actually this is our t-shirt.
This could be yours for a low price of nothing.
Your game ID in the YouTube's comment section. Yes?
Right, and again, also in that YouTube comment section, please leave your comments and leave your feedback. We had a blast going through all the stuff that you guys asked us last time. And anything interesting that you guys leave down there now, we're going to go and pick up on the next session, and all of your questions, well, no,
yes,
3 to 5 of your questions will be answered.
At least 3, I promise.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for playing the games.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Take care.